It's a special occasion. It's the season 2 finale. I can't even believe it. Can you believe it? I know I can't. Welcome to, in fact, season 2's finale, episode 13 of this season. It's beyond me that we have already done the entire season. I'm so thrilled to have you all with us tonight. Around the world, I'm already seeing comments from people. It's great to have you here tonight. I wanted to start tonight by just simply saying thank you to everybody that has tuned in and watched. You are the reason we do this. You are the reason that we keep doing this. You're the reason we want to keep doing this. Thank you so much for spending your Mondays with us, or whenever you do. Whether you watch live with us or if you tune in later on, it's a really, really big deal to those of us here at Groove Diner that you choose to spend your time with us. Thank you so much for that. So many of you have written in and told us things that you love about the show and how the show impacts you positively. And that's really what it's been all about for us all along. There's a reason why this isn't called the Buddy Gibbons Show. It's because I don't want it to be about me. It's about you guys. It's about us and building a community. And that whole thing, the idea of building a community of viewers, a community that is Groove Diner. And I feel like we've really done that over the past couple of seasons. We have quintupled our viewership this year. I'm beside myself, I suppose I should say, that we have done that much to build a viewership this year. Thank you so much for sharing every episode every week. So many of you do that for us, and it means the world to us, and it helps us tremendously to get the word out. Of course, if you can go to the YouTube channel and subscribe over there, and hit the notification bell, all the things you know to do. We appreciate that tremendously as well. Remember, we didn't even have a YouTube channel when season 2 began, and now we've already built it up enough that we've got our very own YouTube channel. So thank you so much for all of that. I can't wait to show you tonight's episode. We'll talk a little bit more about it right on the other side of this. This episode of Groove Diner After Dark is brought to you by Groove Diner After Dark, the store. That's right, starting with tonight's episode, you can tell the world of your love for Groove Diner After Dark by owning official Groove Diner After Dark merchandise. Coffee mugs, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, a pint glass, stickers, and much more can be yours today. Simply go to GrooveDinerAfterDark.com or click the link in this video description and get your gear today. Thank you for your support. Do You Groove? That's our latest and greatest, our newest shirt, our newest design. Be sure that you go over to that store, and thank you to everybody that has purchased a little bit of merchandise from us over the course of this season. It has been tremendously helpful for us to try to take care of doing this program for you week in and week out. Thanks, Toby. Thank you. It's good to see you here, Toby. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us, David Gonzalez from Las Vegas. Thank you so much. Eddie Taduri, my friend, it's so good to see you here. I see Keith Tannenbaum. Thank you, man. I try my best to clean up, you know what I'm saying? Once in a while you have a special occasion. You need to dress well. I see Charles Anderson is here from South Africa. Good morning, good sir. Nice to see you. Reggie Doss here from Texas as well. I think I saw Kendall Johnson here from Mississippi just moments ago. It's great to see everybody here. I'll definitely talk a little more to you guys as the show rolls. Don't forget to stick around. We are, in fact, going to be doing the giveaway tonight of the artist signed drumhead from every guest we've had on the show this entire season. And I signed it, and so did Eli. So we devalued it a little bit, but the other ones are all great, So we've got that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me tell you how you entered. Whether you know you entered or not, you entered. You were entered if you watched more than one show and commented on more than one show. So we went through and we pulled every name, and it was a bunch of names. We pulled every name of everybody that had done that. And that was the whole idea for us to get everybody entered. We wanted to be sure that we didn't shortchange anybody, and we're going to do a little more. We're giving away 3 things tonight, not just the drumhead. So the drumhead's the grand prize. We're also going to give away a coffee mug, and a bumper sticker. 3 chances to win. So we're gonna do that right out at the end. So don't forget to stick around for that. Now about tonight's episode. Tonight is a very, very special one for me. This is 5 of my closest friends. The 6 of us formed, we formed a bond over the pandemic. We're going to talk about it in the interview, so I'm not going to say as much right now. But this interview is very real because it's 6 friends sitting around a table talking. The language is salty, so you've been forewarned. We did our best to bleep it out, but this is very real stuff, and you're going to hear from the 6 of us in a way that maybe you haven't over the course of this season. And it's probably my favorite interview because it's just the 6 of us talking. Yeah, I lead it, but it's less of an interview and more of a conversation. I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's a little long, so go to the bathroom now and hang out with us because I think you're going to enjoy it. All right, so here we go. We're going to roll the interview, and I'll see you on the other side of it. Stick around. Wow. Welcome to the show.
Let's truncate
This
that.
is everybody. I don't even know what to say to start this except this. Over here to my left is Kelly King. Corey Mansky over there. We'll get to Mike and Keith and Herman here in a minute. But in the midst of the pandemic, I think we all were feeling kind of crazy about life, love, and the pursuit of all things drum, and just being humans was so challenging. And Kelly invited us to the party by creating a Zoom call each week. And each week I kept expecting him to not ask me to be on the call because nobody likes me, and I think that we all,
which means he has the most ironic name ever.
It's the truth, right? and I think we all kind of felt that way. But this little group here, the 6 of us, 2, 4, 6 of us, became something of the pandemic family of drummer guys, the drummer dudes, the Friday fellas, the whatever we want to call ourselves. But every Friday we would have these discussions about whatever happened to be, and once in a while we'd even talk drums. Might talk trash, might talk about Herman's hats. You just never know. And it was always a really great time. So Kelly, our patriarch,
The creator.
he is leaving us to go to Nashville, which I don't even know if I can look at it at this point. But thank you. This is the first time the 6 of us have been in the same place since this whole thing began, since 2020. And it's amazing to have you guys here. We're outside at my house, obviously, so it's a little hot, so forgive me for that. But it's great to have you guys here. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I just want us to have a chat today. Normally I do this really, very definite. I have lots of questions. And I'll start with one. We've been telling great stories off camera. You wish you had seen some of those, heard some of those.
But we're really glad you didn't.
So let me continue. Over here we have Corey Mansky, Kelly King, Mike Odabashian, Keith Tannenbaum, Herman Matthews. I almost called you Herman Miller. For some reason, the chair was on my mind. Herman Matthews over there. That was really funny about Herman. He's not the chair guy. Not at all. Oh, man. But anyway, this is the group. And I just wanted to start with saying thanks for coming. Thanks for finally us getting together. Kelly, thank you for inviting us to the party. No kidding.
Yeah, literally.
I think it did the same thing for all of us. It was a really monumental time for everybody. And I'll credit Corey, because we always used to have coffee in the mornings and talk, and I missed that time we had together. And at some point, I'm sure that we talked and said, we know this group of guys and we should establish something. And so, man, every Friday afternoon, I look forward to 2 beers and a Zoom with all you guys and everybody exploding out of their mouths everything that we've been experiencing. And it was a frightening time, but it was also really great because we bonded and all became
absolutely.
I actually think that we all looked forward to it. And what I find particularly interesting about those times is each week there was sort of a revolving cast of characters that joined the 6 of us. But it's weird because the 6 of us were always like the nucleus of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed all of our chats with all of the different guys who chimed in and joined in and that we all got to know. I find it really interesting, though, that through the course of that, the 6 of us were just thick as dynasty.
Right.
It was always the
We
same.
didn't miss anything.
No.
We didn't miss an episode.
I was think there was a big support for everybody to where we didn't just talk drums, but we were talking about feeling isolated, feeling alone, not sure where our careers were headed, not sure if the music scene was coming back, not sure. So we had some talks that really got me through months of isolation. I looked forward to those Fridays all week long. That was like the one thing I looked forward to.
When it first started, I was a little shy about it all, only because, what do I have to offer? I'm thinking. But
Most ridiculous statement of the day, right?
But the thing is, but the thing is, I was looking forward to Fridays. It started becoming a thing where I was looking for Fridays so that I can hang. I mean, even to the point where, sometimes we'll be in vehicles, driving, and we're like, we got to get the Zoom on so we can, driving. Hey, how you doing, guys? Yeah, get out the way, So, I never wanted to miss it.
I think it was like the least drummy conversations too. Like it was more of like, man, I'm going through this. It's like I don't know what to do, and we're all kind of in this wasteland of COVID. Like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
What do we do with ourselves? And we had each other to kind of bounce ideas off of, and kind of talk about everything but drumming. And I thought that was incredible.
And I particularly liked when Herman was driving because he would say things like, "Excuse me, gentlemen," and then he would say, "Get the hell out of the way!" to some other car or something. And
driving, mother.
Yeah, and then he'd be right back into the conversation.
Really
Where were
pleasant
we?
with us.
Right.
Pardon me.
And I think there was one point where you were in Boston with your brother, in the car.
Yeah. I'm an identical twin. I know you guys know that now. Yeah. And I was like, I gotta get him on here. And I'm like, hey guys, and then you guys are like, what is happening? No. Corey's like, no, we don't want that. No, just cut it. Get them duplicating. It's crazy. What's happening?
That's awesome. I think for me, the most poignant moment was probably my very first time on the call. I'd really not ever met Corey before, not really. And I made a comment that I wasn't enjoying playing drums.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Remember that?
Man, I leaned into you some fierce.
You did. I mean, and he even said, I think that the saddest thing I've heard is Buddy saying he doesn't like playing drums. And that that really impacted me. Even now I'm sitting here pretty emotional about it.
I know.
Because it was very real for me at that moment that I didn't want to see a drum set. I certainly didn't want to play. I didn't want to practice. I didn't want to do anything. I think that was the way that COVID was really impacted me. And the fact that you said that, it hit me that, oh, wait a minute. It's not that I'm going to quote Nate Morton here. It's not that I have to play drums. It's that I get to play drums.
Yeah.
And I remembered that moment, and it was totally triggered by you saying the saddest thing that you'd heard was me saying I didn't want to play drums anymore.
We all gave each other something during that, and I'm happy to have been there in a position to receive that from you and to be able to offer my unvarnished. I always offer my unvarnished opinion, but I gave you my input, and I actually think it was almost better that we didn't know each other very well because it immediately bound us together. Because I remember you and I had subsequent long text exchanges after that because you reached out to me to say wow, that was like a seismic shift for me. And I was just like, wow, really? Wow, I was just being honest. I was just speaking from the heart. And that's the thing that all six of us have done consistently since the first Zoom.
I think there was a general level of concern when you say that for everybody. Man, I want this guy to still love what we do. Playing drums is such a freaking gift, and we've been doing it for so long, and to not have that inspiration, it's I felt concerned. Man, I hope he's okay. Because it's real, man. It's all this COVID-19 bullshit and being locked up and not having any access to what we normally would. I was booked for a year in advance, then all of it got canceled. It was done, you know what I mean? And thankfully, knock on whatever that things are happening again. But it's but I felt concerned for you. I'm man, I hope Buddy's okay. You know what I mean? Because you're a friend of ours. So.
And there are drummers all across the country who've had the same experience that we did. Was pulled out from underneath them, and this just happens to be our community that we put together. together.
Yeah.
Is that it resonated with each of us.
That you put together.
Thanks to you.
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
Yeah, that's too much credit. For me.
Did you send the invite?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
you send the
Remember,
first
you had the
email?
cheap version of Zoom.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, to give props to Kelly, Kelly brought us all together long before the pandemic.
True.
Kelly was bringing us together
Drum
with the
hangs,
drum hangs, the breakfasts
Yeah.
at Jonathan Moover's,
The hikes.
drum parties, the hikes.
No, they're too early in the morning. I'm not going hiking at that time of day. It's just
In fact, I've got a
Cruel.
picture of all of you on my studio wall from one time or another. You look like a baby.
Oh, that was
In
from
the
the drum.
picture.
That was the drum head.
It was a
Magazine
breakfast.
thing,
No, that was from a breakfast.
Magazine.
okay.
And he was sitting next to Kelly, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Buddy. He looks so young, dude.
I went on a hike with Kelly once, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a cute little 3-mile hike.
Oh.
Like 7 miles. I was like, oh, fine, it's cold. You have the extra water. I
Go
killed
without me,
14
go.
gallons of here. But it was fun. Yeah,
Was that the one that we went on with Mover, where he got to a certain point, he's like, "You guys go up and do the thing and come back, and I'll be here. I'll be here when you
Who was on
get."
that? Like, no, it's like the 3 of us, and it was somebody else.
It was Matt.
Ryan?
No,
I
it
was
Ryan.
with you guys on a
Ryan.
hike.
And you
Yeah.
and Ryan.
Yeah, that was you. Yeah.
Because there was some kind of competition going on that day. There was like a race going down.
Yeah, we
the
got up there and we're like,
hill.
who the hell are all these people?
People with flags were like running all over the place.
We're all like, we're struggling to get parking. We're like, it's
Yeah.
dark 30.
I'm not in terrible shape. I wasn't
Yeah.
as good a shape as Kelly. I was like, hey, it's fine. Keep going. I'm like, a mile behind. I'm mile 7. It's cool. I'm good. No, it's cool, guys.
You're
Well, see,
all
Mike and
better
I
men
like
than I am.
no, man. They want to get together at like 6 in the morning to go to these hikes. I'm not doing anything except sleeping.
I don't mind
Corey and I are
that.
super early guys.
Yeah,
No.
morning.
That's just rude.
It is.
That's just rude.
I don't know.
It's just,
just not right.
I've seen 6 o'clock before.
Oh, the
Yeah,
other
I've been the
side.
other side
Yeah,
of
right.
it. Yeah.
Just gonna make it to 8. It's like, stay up late that night.
Well, I want to ask a drum question. I do want to ask one drum question. What's one gig that you're glad you didn't get? One audition that you went for that you ultimately decided,
Oh,
whoa, am I glad I didn't get that gig?
Do I have to say the name of the artist?
Yes. I'll say mine.
Okay.
Allie and AJ, Disney Channel actresses. They also were singer types, pop music thing. I'm glad I didn't get that gig. Because it really tanked badly.
Mine is, I was lined up for an audition for the Nelly Furtado gig in 2000, man, I'll say 2. And my appendix burst.
Oh, jeez.
And I got rushed into surgery, and only time in my life I've ever had surgery, and so I missed the audition completely. And that was before cell phones were really like, you couldn't like text someone in 2001 or whatever. And for anyone who's had any abdominal surgery, like you're at 60% for 3 weeks, and whatever.
Wow.
So I'm glad and the reason why I'm glad I didn't get it is I would have failed. I don't think I was prepared to have that gig then. So I actually thank my lucky stars that missed me, frankly.
That's mature.
I would have gotten fired.
Interesting. All right. Herman?
Wow. And this a bit of a story. So I wasn't touring with anyone at the time. I had just gotten off of, I think, the Tower of Power, and then what did I do after that? I did Lilith Fair things after that and all. So, but I'm home. I'm asking a friend of mine on a gig what was going on. He says, "Man, we're having auditions for Tom Jones." And I think I was more upset with the fact that I didn't get a call to audition. Not so much that I wanted the gig. Right. So, literally the morning of the audition, I did get a call, because I kind of bitched about it. And I go in, and I remember the drummer before me had a left-handed kit, set up. So, I just, not that I can do that, but, I just bring the snare drum over, and the hi-hat, and basically do, and I thank you for the audition, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I felt better, that's all. By the time I got home, I get a phone call, you got the gig. So I'm like, well, I didn't want the gig. I'm telling this guy on the phone. I said, I really didn't want the gig. I just wanted to audition for it, which is a stupid thing to say. And then I went on to play the gig for 7.5, 8 years. It was probably one of the best gigs I've ever had. But right up front, I was like, well, it's not that I wanted the gig.
Right.
I was bummed that you didn't invite me to the party. You know, that was the deal.
Kelly,
I didn't want to be with the chick.
Yeah, but, you know, it turned out I married her. You know, so, wow.
and what about you, Mike?
I guess like one gig, I did like a cattle call like audition. It was at Center Staging for an Epic Records artist. I don't remember the guy's name. It's Kez something. I waited in line for I don't know, like 3 hours, right? And learned these 4 songs. So we get up there and it's all pretty well-established industry people, and it's like you're on this huge riser, massive room, the biggest freaking room in the whole place. I play good. I go make it to the second round. Now they're kind of pairing you up like, you with this bass player.
Right.
There's like 50 people of each one. I spent like 8 hours there. Whoa. And, you know, and I think I made it to about like the top 10, you know? Like it was basically fit. I never got a call back. I'm like, that. You know what I mean? I'm just like, all that time.
That was the thumbnail right there. That was the thumbnail.
Yeah. And I'm just like, for me, it's like, I don't know, man, at this point in my career, I'd rather be brought in because of the work I've done. You know what I mean? Like, have that rather than just go to some, like, I'm just another number and just, okay, I want people to pull me in. And that's actually, I've had more success that way than any other way than going to these crazy cattle call auditions. Not to say that they're good. They're not good because I think you have to do those to kind of get that experience, you know, like to go through that. And, you know, it's a lot of pressure. And then you get people like, I look like a panel. I felt like I was like, oh,
auditioning for, you know, Saturday Night Live.
It was crazy. And, you know, I think I did good because like 50 dudes, I made it like, you know, to a pretty like low number. But I'm just like, I was so pissed. I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't get that fucking gig.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about you? Do you have anything, Kelly?
Man, I'm hard pressed to think of one. I can't think of one that. The question is a gig that I
didn't get, that you auditioned for, that you're happy, that you're glad you didn't get.
I just have such a vivid recollection of Corey pulling me into his computer and saying, check out this guy playing. And it was Mike playing all this crazy shit. And we were like, where's that guy's brain? And then like 6 months later, we're like, he's living in LA. And
then we played a gig together.
Within 3 months, I go to a gig. Not a great gig, but what was the name of that place?
It was the Study, or like the, or now Hemingway. Is it?
But you were playing with Xander, right?
Yeah, I was playing with Xander.
And I was like,
first gig.
And I'm texting Corey, this is playing before me right now. And I'm like, you're the guy, and he's like so cool. Anyway, that's how all of these relationships.
And I know you from Jay Skronik.
Right.
Yeah, which is my cousin, and that's how he sent you the video. And
which is the craziest part. I mean, you and I met because I knew your cousin because of a band that I used to play in, and he connected you with me when you were going to move out here.
Yeah, I was like, so what's
because
it like
he was
in
kind
LA?
of getting out. He was kind of getting out of music.
Yeah.
And so you were calling me to be like, what's it like there? What do I need? How are you running tracks? What are you using for?
I had like a laundry list of questions.
Yeah. And I'm like,
it was awesome. By the way, Corey was awesome. Like really, you know, moving out here, like having like one project, kind of a little bit of money, and like, okay, I'm just going for it. Like, what should I expect? I mean, are there a lot of gigs available? You know, where should I go to hang? And Corey was amazing because he gave me like some really good sage advice. Like, you know, as hard as you want to work, you know, you'll make whatever you want to make out of it. And, you know, obviously a lot of technical that you helped me with, which was great. Yeah, it was awesome.
You know, that's an interesting diversion. I know we didn't get to your gig.
Yeah,
You didn't
sorry.
get. No, but Keith, let me start with that. Do you think that people still need to move to LA or Nashville or New York to do what we do for a living? Do you think it's still important that we're all in these cities? What do you think about that? And if so, why?
I don't think it matters as much anymore because I think the live scene in LA is dying down. I mean, the Viper Room's closing down. The House of Blues is gone.
I owe my entire professional career to the Viper Room. I really do.
Me too. I mean, I started my biggest shows there when they first were like the hit place. But
all the TV stuff I do, a guy was at the Viper Room and saw me playing, and he asked me. He came up to me after the show and asked me some questions and gave me his business card. And he was a Fox Sports music supervisor. Wow. And that's how I literally started getting TV gigs.
There was a time where I was getting like local gigs like every night of the week.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of stopped like mid 2013, 2014, it started to fall off a little bit, and less clubs were open and less bands were doing things. And now I've noticed the big thing is like the tribute band thing.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of new music, everyone wants to do the tribute band thing and revisit the 90s or something of that nature. So I do think you can do music in other places because most everyone's doing things in a home studio now.
Yeah.
You know, I record everything in my house for my band. Yeah, exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like you
I
could
still think there's value, though. I do think there's value in living in the music cities because, especially in LA, all
The
labels are
environment.
here. All the big, booking companies are here. Everybody's here. So you never know. Like, you could be at Bordner's and the guy sitting next to you is like, massive producer or booking agent, and you just like, drinking and talking. It's like you never know where that's going to turn into something. And it has happened for me where I meet people and it's turned into, you make friendships and then all of a sudden you collaborate, but I think there's value.
If you're an established musician, basically you can live anywhere in the country where there's a major airport.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go to the tour from there. But when just getting started, I think it's important to be in those cities. What were we, Nashville? I mean, L.A., New York, Nashville, Atlanta.
Yeah. Miami.
There's a scene there for sure.
There's a scene.
Different, but-
Austin. So I mean, you're drinking that water. You're doing that thing.
Exactly.
So I think it's important.
I think it's twofold. I think first of all, I think your personality is more important than anything else because I think if you have the ability to network, you can network anywhere. That's number one.
Especially with social media too.
For sure.
Exactly.
And I would say the second part of that is when I first moved, not first, but shortly after I moved to California, the manager of the band that I was in, who is also at the time was a fairly well-known actor, said to me as a piece of advice, he said, never pass up the opportunity to be in the room. Mm-hmm. And I looked at him and I said, what do you mean by that? He said, never pass up the opportunity to be in the room. Whether that's the coffee place where the producer is sitting next to you, blah, blah, blah. So the way that I interpret that piece of advice today is I just feel like there's kind of really only 8 or 9 rooms.
Yeah.
LA is a room.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Austin's a room. Chicago's a room. New York's a room.
Yeah. As I've always said, never pass up that opportunity to audition. If someone calls you up for an audition, case in point, I get called Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
And here I am. I mean, I'm older than all you guys. And at that audition, I can be everyone's father. That's the age gap. Right. But the fact that I was called.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, and I mean, and like you at the audition where, days I got called second time, the third time got called back. And then that one day, it was like 8 hours and there's only 2 drummers left.
Yeah.
And then she wanted to switch out and see the drummer that had the afro that's playing with the other guy who has the afro. And she says, that's it right there. I'm like going, oh, okay, there you go. But I mean, I don't regret, doing it.
Maybe there's like some bitterness, I guess. I think I was coming more from a bitter perspective than I regret. I'll go with that.
I spent all damn day just because I didn't have an afro.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, building on what you're saying, and bring back even to the Zoom thing where we all got closer, but living in a town like LA, I'll just talk from my own personal perspective. It's the experience because I don't just want to get a gig. I don't want to just get better as a player, but I kind of I want to learn more about people who care about the same things that I care about, who are driven by the same things, but who also are real people. And I'll use Herman as an example. Like, he's the guy when I lived in Dallas that I saw from way back in the room at Caravan of Dreams when he was playing at Tower Power, and I would never have come up to him and oh, Mr. Matthews. But in LA, we got to point to where he was playing in a room and I could go, amongst 50 other people and introduce myself, get to know him. We get to become friends. We're doing the Zoom thing. We're getting a beer, whatever. And I get the benefit of getting the unfiltered Herman that is the guy that we all saw maybe a little bit ago, but even more, who we're talking about having a relationship, having kids, paying the mortgage, the fucking traffic in LA, whatever it is. But I get that insight, and Herman is one example of many that we've moved here because we wanted to be part of that community, and we get to know those guys, and we see them as multi-dimensional people, and that means more to me than even just getting
the community. That's the big takeaway for me. It's the community by being in the room. Like, think about it. If any one of us lived in Des Moines or Boise or whatever, like the six of us wouldn't be sitting around this table. Right?
Correct.
Or like
It took us 2 years living in LA.
True. But global pandemic. But I'll use Herman as an example too, from the standpoint that I too met Herman back when shortly after the Tower of Power thing, and I was kind of goo goo gaga because I'm a huge Tower guy. But what I think is so crazy is that I was all goo goo gaga back then, and now we're to the point where like only in LA, like we go see each other play. Like that's crazy to me. That's I'm about to get on stage and he comes in and gives me a shot and a beer. That's crazy town to me. Yeah. That's crazy town.
And vice versa. You saw the picture, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there just laughing my ass off because there's a shot of 2 shots of tequila, 2 beers, and he's like going, "Come on!" And I'm not even set up yet, so it was perfect.
Yeah, it's really funny. Kind of in the same vein, I was told don't miss the convention by 50 feet. That was what somebody told me once, and that took me a minute to process. I went, okay, don't be hanging outside in the parking lot when all the action is happening over here inside. And that's how I've kind of lived NAMM shows or GC drum offs. Be upstairs in the VIP room and Kelly King.
Yep.
That's how that works. Kelly actually, it was really funny because Kelly took me to the write-off room to see you play one night.
Oh,
it was a long time ago now. Pre-pandemic.
Is that where we met though?
It is.
That is where. Okay, I remember that. You did. No, I remember. And thank you, by the way.
What I liked about it was, hey, Herman, this is Buddy. Oh, nice to meet you, says Herman. He goes, kind of the rest of the night, I was sitting next to you, and the rest of the night you were like this. Like, I don't know about this guy. Like,
really?
Yeah, you're like, but then you gave me peanut brittle at the end of the night, so I figured everything was okay.
The thing that always fascinates me is like when people come on, and you never know who you meet or when you meet them, and they tell me stories that I've done something to them, like not spoken to them or either thrown. God, what's the guy's name? Adolf the Third, something.
Whoa, that's a
heavy name, man.
Yeah.
No, Adolfo, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
He cleaned it up.
I'm sorry.
Did he have a short mustache?
No. Actually, no. But
Diner way after dark.
There's a cat in Texas who actually, was a good friend. But I just remember the first time, I was touring through there and we were using Backline, and this I was already upset because we were using that, and some stand just didn't work, and I took it and I chunked it off stage, nailing this guy in the leg,
No.
and he always, he tells me about that, and then on the Zoom, who was it that said, he's telling me that, he said, he comes up to me in NAMM somewhere, and then I finished playing the show, and I tell him that I had no time for him at all, and I'm like, that's not me, and then you tell me I'm looking at you sideways, I'm like, no.
So Herman, tell us about your pain.
I'm not that guy, but you never know.
Do we need to have Keith moves to have you lay down? We can.
Or you can put your head on my lap. I'll stroke your forehead.
No, just don't hit me with the stick.
I think
Gotta make sure that window.
it's like when you're playing a gig, though, you get off stage. It's like sometimes it's a lot of a fire drill mentality. You're doing, maybe you got to go someplace. Maybe you're like, okay, we got like 2 hours. We got to be on the road, or or like if it's a gig where you're humping, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, guy, I got to get my snare drum and the bass drum off, so this other cat can come up here and play. Or maybe you're just getting your cymbals and your backline kit. So it's like, I get that though.
Well, look, obviously we could talk drums, we could talk whatever, but I want to know who your drumming Rushmore is. I want to know yours, Corey. Who's your drumming Rushmore? There's a very specific reason I'm asking you, Corey.
Well,
who's your drumming Rushmore? Besides me and Herman.
And Kelly.
Everybody that. Oh, is there? There's 5 on Rushmore now? No. My Rushmore is.
By the way, the international audience has told me to stop doing Rushmore because they don't know who Rushmore is.
Oh no!
Yeah.
But you see, Rushmore is better than top 5 because 5's easy.
5 is easy.
4's hard.
4's hard.
4's hard.
So who's your Rushmore?
Neil Peart. I'm going to say the names, and then I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Neil Peart, David Garibaldi, Chad Sexton, and Liberty DeVito.
Interesting.
I love Liberty DeVito.
Wow.
Liberty
Very
DeVito's incredible.
So underrated.
Wow.
And I'm actually super, super lucky because I've met and I'm quasi like friends with 3 of them, which is insane to me. Insane. Here's why. Neil, absolutely one of the most creative and technically gifted, and honors the spirit of what if, that's something that I have stolen from him that I hold in my heart all the time. David Garibaldi, because obviously he's the groove meister general, Soul Vaccination, top 5 grooves all time, full stop. And I like his relationship with Rocco, like how they put a rhythm section together and how they view it and think about it is super unorthodox and so badass. Chad Sexton, his ability, I'm a drumline guy.
Me too.
So his ability to translate drum corps, drumline, chop stuff into being in a band and doing it in a really versatile, vertical way that also sells a ton of records is really inspirational to me. And then Liberty DeVito, it's real easy. Real easy. He is the most comfortable dude I've ever seen not being the star of the movie. That dude plays for the song, and that dude plays with passion, pure from his heart every single time, and I love that.
My wife, her second favorite drummer, and I'm not her favorite, by the way. That's true. Yeah, J.R. Robinson's her favorite. J.R.'s her favorite.
Really?
Her second favorite is Liberty, and it's all the things that you just said. Yeah, I love Liberty.
He's clearly having the time of his life all the time, and it's awesome.
Who's yours, Keith?
You're not going to like mine.
I bet I will.
I would have to start off with Buddy Rich.
What's not to like?
I would take it to Ringo.
What's not to like?
Because even to this day, Ringo's rhythms, his beats, the sounds of his snare, everything sounds current. Even all these decades later, that guy is current. Then I would take it to the one you don't like. My master, my God.
It's not that bad.
John
I
Bonham.
don't like him.
John Bonham.
Who doesn't like John Bonham?
It's not that I don't like him.
Man.
So he's up there. And then my fourth, and who's closest to my heart, would be Alex Van Halen.
Of course.
Because I would be playing drums if it wasn't for Alex Van Halen. I wouldn't be touching a drumstick. I mean, when I was 8, 9 years old, actually I got into Van Halen when I was like 6, but when I saw them live for the first time, I saw him set his gong on fire. I was just like, that's me. That's it. You know, so that's my fault.
I love that, actually. And it's not that I don't like John Bonham. I don't get the Bonham worship that happens.
Tell us your pain.
I'll say this. Okay, hold on.
He's a
Let's say
Motown
this.
guy.
Well, no, let's say this. John Bonham is the Buddy Rich of rock music.
He is. I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
He's so Motownish. He's got so much Motown in his blood.
And not, damn, now we're getting into this. But this is the deal. You know, I'm always talking about the reason why a lot of rock god drummers who try and play Zeppelin, the reason why it doesn't feel right is because it doesn't swing.
Doesn't have him swing.
Right. And Bonham swings his ass off, man.
Everything.
Oh, yeah.
His big ass.
Well, since you have the floor.
Well, you know, and that's
your drumming repertoire?
that's the other thing. That's because I like playing. I'm into different kinds of music. I have, you know, I have 4 of jazz. I have 4 of jazz, 4 of rock, 4 of
but you can't.
But okay, so I would say that those go-to drummers that I go to now and that I worship and I try and be like from time to time. You know, I would say first Al Jackson Jr.
Oh yeah.
All right. Earl Palmer.
Yep.
You guys know, all that, Earl Palmer. Stevie Jordan, you know, and Charlie Drayton. Yeah. And so, I mean, with the last 2 being disciples of the first 2,
Sure.
You know, and all that trickling down to what I'm thinking about every night, you know, when you guys see the little Facebook things and all, I'm trying to be those guys, you know, playing those grooves. So
Interesting because they're contemporaries of yours in so many ways.
yeah, well, definitely, I want to say that I've met everyone except for Al Jackson Jr. You know, he had already passed away. Yeah. But I've met the other 3, definitely.
So it's just all about their feel and the way they approach.
About their feel, the way they approach, and their sounds. I mean everything.
Yeah.
Some of the most soulful and musical drummers that I've ever heard. So,
Mike. Weren't you glad when that commercial?
Lars Ulrich.
I heard one.
Lars Ulrich.
Mike.
I'm like, why?
Lars 4 times.
I'm going to throw you for a curveball. So number one would be Vinny Caliuta, right? Because he plays everything right. There's not like a bad note, right? The feels there, the chops are there when he needs them, but he can be delicate and musical.
And nothing worked out so much. I mean, basically he's playing what he's thinking.
Composition, amazing. Phil Collins?
Sure.
Yeah.
Highly underrated.
I mean, why? I mean,
Brand X.
Right? That Brand X stuff was
just like I mean, he's hundreds of millions of records, songwriting. It goes beyond just drumming, but like composition-wise, like he's written the most iconic drum fills. Other than I mean, every drummer, if you get a Concert Tom kit, that's the first thing you're doing.
I've done it on a 4-piece.
We've all done it on an E.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I mean, we can just go on and on about his accolades, right? But just like composition and being a songwriter, I think he is probably like the best of both worlds, right? Because he's written so many amazing hits, but he also has written such iconic drum parts.
But he's a lefty, so he's out. No.
I mean, we'll jump on that after the show.
That was 3.
So there's 3. No, that was 2.
Two.
Vinny Phil, Giovanni Hidalgo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm a conga player. I don't know if you guys know that about me, but like I'm an avid hand drummer, go really hardcore into like Afro-Cuban stuff. And so, and I think you've seen some of my videos and stuff.
I know that about you, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming, though. I knew that, but I didn't see that.
I mean, because Giovanni it's just, I mean, one, his physical acumen on a instrument is just like any of the other, like Buddy Rich's and stuff like that.
He's an artist.
But he's a true artist, and he is his own thing. There's only one person that's that guy. And then it'll segue into my very last one, Buddy Rich. So, like, Buddy Rich, nobody's ever going to play like him again. I don't care. There's nobody that's going to sound like him. There's nobody that's going to have the control, tiny volumes to be able to be like so crazy fast, but accurate, also can swing through the roof. I mean, nobody's going to ever play like him again.
No one's ever going to have attitude like that ever again.
This guy I worked for, I'll just tell a quick 2-second story. Him and his dad brought him to see Buddy Rich. I took lessons from his dad. I ended up teaching at the store in Rhode Island. Al Drew's music, Dave Drew. He does a lot of Roger stuff. Anyways, so he's like, Buddy was out there smoking a cigarette on like an old Porsche. And he looked super mean, and he's like, I wanted to go up and say hi to him, but him and his dad were so scared because he was looking so intimidating. They just we didn't go up to him. We were like scared. Listen, I
love that.
And like, so that's I would say.
I had a cassette tape. I don't know where I got it, but I had a cassette tape as a kid that it was all of Buddy Rich yelling at his band. And the whole tape was just him freaking out.
Yeah.
There was no playing.
Clams? You need a clam at my stage?
I'll get a whole new band.
Kelly?
Well, most of the guys that I like.
It's Ringo 4 times.
Yeah, you guys have all said, and I level those guys. Corey is right. Ringo is the top of the mountain. Nobody comes close for me. Only because he possesses the 2 things that I aspire to, which is like energy / excitement, enthusiasm, and he always plays for the song.
And he was the only one in that movie Get Back that did not want to punch in the throat.
Yeah, he was great. That. I will say that there's a handful of other guys like Herman knows. Steve Jordan is huge, way up on my list. And a guy who I don't think gets mentioned enough is Andy Strummer, who's the singer drummer for Jellyfish, who stands up and how he did all that stuff. Wow! But all those guys really play. I mean, Dave Grohl's another one. Like they all play really well for the song, and I am enamored by drummers who play the simplest part to make the music move the most.
Amen.
Herman's a master of that.
True.
But that is the top for me. Like if I could do that, I'd be happy.
So say your 4 again.
Ringo.
The funny thing with Dave Grohl is, it's like I loved what he did in Nirvana, and at the time, going from the hair metal stuff over the switch over was like refreshing and crazy. But when I heard his drumming on Queens of the Stone Age album, Songs for
Going
Deaf,
for it. Oh, yeah.
that is to me the best Dave Grohl drumming. I saw a small Queen show where he actually was on the drums, and it was like phenomenal. Like early on, like.
I heard him with the Foo Fighters on the Letterman show, and Taylor's playing, and so there's a pause, and they switch, and Grohl gets on the drum. Right then, I went, "Oh my God!"
There it is.
It was not so much chop wise. I mean, it was just the feel,
Energy.
the energy.
It's big. It's
I was
big.
like, oh my goodness. I mean, here's the cat, and it was a different thing, So my hats off to him.
One of the things I want to get your Rushmore, even though you probably said it in the past couple.
I have.
But I have to say, one of my favorite parts. I know why you went to me first because I've commented to you after every episode because it's one of my favorite questions because I love thinking about it and I love hearing people's answers. But I want to take it one step further, which is one of my favorite parts about this conversation is being able to try and pull out your drummer decoder ring when you go to see each of us play. Like I've seen of all of us, I've seen Kelly play the most, I've seen Herman play the second most, and I say this to you every single time you get off stage. Every single time I say this to you, you say no and you run the other direction and you want to slap me in the face and all that crap. Like I've never in my life seen a drummer that embodies Ringo and reminds me of Ringo more than Kelly King. Fact. How you approach playing, the fact that you play for the song, and there is a certain body language that you have, and I've said it to you before, from the relaxation that you have to your posture to all that, it's so Ringo that it's inspiring to me, and I like to try to find that stuff in everybody, and Ringo just drips off of you every single time I see you play. Like,
how many arguments have you gotten into about the whole Ringo?
That just is that means I'm doing a really good job at a poor imitation, but I'm not trying to. I'm
not stupid and I'm buying it. So like.
But yeah,
maybe I am stupid.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Moves me.
I never understood anyone that had anything bad to say about that guy because he is still so current this many years later, and his drum sounds, like everything is so perfect.
I think you can hear maybe a younger, more inexperienced player say something like that because he's not going, and doing all this shit.
Like Charlie Watts.
Well,
they don't appreciate what he.
Oh man,
yeah, exactly.
As I try and tell people, would you want to hear Buddy Rich playing with the Rolling Stones?
No.
Would you want to hear John Bonham playing with Rush?
Right? No.
Sorry. I might have been a little too emphatic. God, no.
The weirdest rumor that was going around social media, and it was a stupid rumor, it was never going to happen, but fans were trying to say when Neil Peart died,
White Stripes,
they were going to try to put in Alex Van Halen because he just lost his brother Eddie, and Rush with Alex Van Halen would never work.
No.
Would never work.
When I was trying to talk about music that sometimes is cute, and I put Rush in that category, and so of course I got rebellion. I'm not going, no, I don't mean cute and putting them down. I'm just saying there are certain things that's going on, and then they'll throw something in that kind of sort of flicks your ear up and go, oh wow, a time signature thing or something that's going in that way. And I say that with Tower of Power music. I say that with anything that is trying to be a little, not too clever, but trying to be clever among the just the music that is other than dance music, I guess I would say. And so, I mean, someone, kind of sort of said, he says, cute. I've never heard anybody say Rush was cute. I said, no, I'm not saying cute in a derogatory way. I'm just saying cute in a way that
ear candy.
Yeah.
Well, it falls in-
Not always that.
Like it falls into the because they can.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, if you can play like Neil Peart and play music of Rush, I'll come buy a ticket to see you.
Seriously.
But I'm just trying to teach these kids to play the intro, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, and just make sure all of that is together.
It's really interesting because I've had this argument discussion with people.
That's got to be on a shirt, dude. Argument discussion
about auditions and playing for the song and all of that. I think the phrasing of playing too busy means you're not playing for the song, and sometimes I think that's absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine someone playing simply with Rush? The answer is no, because it wouldn't musically be right for the songs. And on the flip side, of course, somebody like Alex Van Halen with the Beatles would not have worked because it'd be too notey or whatever. Right. And I always find it frustrating. There's a meme that goes around. We've all seen it where it's two drummers goes, "You're amazing.
You're hired,
right?"
Yeah.
We've all seen this.
Yep.
But I have found that auditions are exactly the opposite of that. If you go to an audition and just do this, you are not getting the gig. And I'm curious if you guys have seen that, because I've watched guys go just throw up on the drums and get a gig that needs this.
I think it's a balance point, right? Like because there's going to be somebody in there like, if you go too crazy, you're like, fuck this guy. I could never be on stage with him because he's just like, oh.
Yeah.
But it's like you also got to bring like that performance
little bit
level.
there, right?
So you got to kind of toe that line. You got to show some chops, but you also got to show them that you can just like lay in the pocket and give them,
It's
something.
so challenging.
Yeah.
I think it's era of music, because when I was auditioning, the reason why I got all of my gigs is because guys were overplaying and I wasn't.
Right.
That may have minimalized why you got the gig.
Well, I mean, even with Tower of Power, which I do say to this day is the only self-indulgent gig I've ever had. And even that, I treat it more like a groove thing.
Sure.
Just playing the parts.
Well, all the stuff in between all the splashy stuff is.
Well, like for instance, like you said, Soul Vaccination, one of my favorite tunes. Just playing that groove and keeping it in there.
Yeah, that repetition. And
that means the world to me. I mean,
I loved how you paid homage to Garibaldi, but you were still you.
Well, this thing, who can play that Garibaldi?
Well, yeah.
I mean, come on. And I love it when people, I would even get angry, hate nail. He's like, well, you're no David Garibaldi. Who is this guy trying to play like David Garibaldi? I said, I'm trying to play the song,
right?
Because the song has parts.
Yeah. Let me get this straight. You still bought a ticket to see the show, right?
Right. Oh, I got it. I said, I have my Corvette because you bought a ticket to come see me play. So, anyways,
Well, and Kelly has always said that great Taylor Hawkins quote: "You guys keep on playing all them notes. I'll just keep cashing all these checks."
Cashing the checks.
I got this
quote.
gig. I won't say who it was. She was a pop singer. They were trying to break big, and Vinnie Coletta did her album, but then he wasn't going to do the shows. So they hired me to come in and do the shows, and everything about her was so manufactured and fake. Like, she didn't know anything about music, and the band was all hired. Yeah. But in the room next to us at SIR was the Sex Pistols. And it was the real Sex Pistols, and they were playing God Save the Queen. Nice. And I was on break, and I'm like, who's in there? And the security guy's like, who do you think it is? It's the Sex Pistols. Oh my God. Yeah. So like, I go back into the room where I am, and I tell the other guys in the band, like, hey dude, the Sex Pistols are next door.
She didn't know who that was.
She didn't know who it was. So then she says to me, who are they? So I fill her and her manager in.
I gotta go.
She runs to the room next door, barges into her room.
No, come on.
And is like, I am such a fan. And like just took pictures with them.
No.
Yeah, dude. Just to try to sell herself more. It was so horrible.
Yeah, that's
it was like,
that makes sense.
Are we back to the gig that you didn't get? That you're glad you didn't
Seriously.
get it?
no, I got that gig.
Oh, but it's the gig that you didn't want.
I didn't. I played 4 shows.
There
and
it
I
is.
quit.
Okay. There it is.
And then I quit. There was lots of gigs I didn't want.
There it is.
But I took them for the money. The one gig I didn't get that I kind of thought I wanted, and then I got a call from Bad Religion when Wackerman was going to Avenged Sevenfold. And the guitar player called me and said, hey, we're at a bar. Why don't you come meet us? We saw you're playing. We'd like to talk to you. And I was scared And I didn't pick up the phone when I saw them calling. He left a message. And then I didn't call back right away. And then I did call back. And then I started learning all the material. But then I had a really bad back problem where I just was laid out for like 6 months. I couldn't move. My back sucks. And I couldn't move. So I was glad I didn't get the gig at the end of the day, because I would have made a fool out of myself, like learning all these crazy tempos and everything.
Yeah, and then going in there
going up there and going, oh, my back, like after the second show or something. Yeah.
Man, I actually hung up on Abe Laboriel, Senior. He called me to do something, and I didn't believe it was him. I hung up on him. He called me 3 times before I finally believed.
Did you hang up on him all 3 times?
No, I hung up. First 2 I hung up on him. The third time he called, I finally took the call, and I'm like, but how did you even get my number? And this was even crazier. Vinny Caliuta had referred me to Abe for something.
I love the fact that you think you were being like punked or something.
That's so
totally
great.
I did. I hung up on Chubby Checker.
Did you really?
I thought I was being pranked. It's the God's honest truth.
That's awesome.
I didn't hang up on Kenny Loggins, but it was a lot of no, really, no. Come on, Teddy, is that you?
Yeah, I was like, Ron, this is funny, man. Like,
You're really messing with
because I was working overnights at the time. I was like, I gotta get to sleep, man. This is funny. I had one of those phones where you set it down. Phone rings again. I was just like, oh, what's up?
Okay, I guess it's you. All right.
I was a big Kenny Loggins fan growing up. My parents like Loggins and Messina. That was a little too easy listening for me. But when Danger Zone
I was gonna
came
say he's
out,
all about
Gun,
Danger Zone.
dude.
You know it. You look at Keith's eyes and you know he's.
Yes.
That was you on Danger Zone?
No.
But you played it live.
I played the hell out of it live. So wait, and what was great about that song, and what is that saying? Always be careful what songs you write, because it may be the songs that become a hit and you'll be playing them. Now, Kenny didn't write that song, but it was one of those songs in the show where we had a big screen behind us, and they would show
Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun and all of that. Right? I mean, what else are they show? They show Top Gun. And people are going crazy, man.
That's my favorite version of that song ever.
Because back then, we had all. I had triggers.
Yeah.
So we had all the sounds from the
Kenny's
career, So all those Simmons sounds of the
Nice.
stuff. Yeah,
Exactly how Caucasian do you want it?
Didn't one of you post something
white
about
do you want me to
clapping?
clap?
About not to clap on the 1 and the 3?
That was me.
That was you.
Well, you know what though?
was so
1 and 3 is actually the proper way of clapping.
Not for me.
Well, what I'm saying is that
When you're listening to reggae.
For the strong beat back.
in Africa, all of that is a but
Or Copeland.
Copeland. But 2 and 4. Which sometimes I'm sitting down and I'm playing, I'm looking out at the audience that I'm playing it for, and they're either a 1 and 3 or the worst, where they're not committing to either. They're just, I'm like going, I cannot hit this thing as hard. I'm hitting it as hard as I can.
I love that
They're not committing to 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm like, come on.
They're not.
I mean, I hate it. I'm like you. I'm like, here it is. This is it.
It hasn't moved all night long.
No, I like when you start adding the bass drum with it. It's right there. It's right there. What is your problem?
Do us a favor, would you? The snare drum, okay? That's where you clap.
God.
Like a public service now. You just stop to
have like one of those mining
the lights
people
come
on the
up.
side of the stage.
Yeah, that'd be great. I
Leads
love
the
that idea.
clapping.
That's your job from here on.
I'll do it at every one of your shows.
I like it.
I will be on the side of your stage, and I will lead the clap.
I like that.
I like that too.
Leading the clap,
Like,
leading the clap in the 70s meant an entirely different thing.
Have you ever? I did a gig about a week ago, and I'm with this horn band with the guy who, one of the bands that I play with.
I know the band you're talking about.
And literally after the second song, I said out loud right here, I said, "Can you guys hear me?"
Which is the nicest way of saying it. Like,
I was like, "Really?"
you guys doing?
I'm like, "Can you hear what I'm doing?"
But haven't we all been through situations with backing tracks and loops where, because of the artist or whoever we're hired to play with, their system isn't up to
Or somebody
snuff?
like I've had this problem where it's like the whatever engineer made the tracks, one of them is like super loud.
oh yeah.
And you just see the audience going like, whoa. Or if like one instrumentalist misses the count in or something like that. I had a bass player miss it by 1 beat.
That's all it takes, dude.
But he stayed there the whole time. I'm looking at him, I'm like, bro. And this is like going back a long ways, but it's just like,
I played with this Egyptian singer guy that had like the whole band on track. To be honest with you, even the guitar players he hired weren't really playing. Like everything was on track but the drums. Right.
This sounds amazing.
And what I hated about it was he gave me his system to run. I didn't have any time to go through it before the show started. The problem with his backing tracks were the pre-counts in didn't have any.
Weren't done by a drummer?
Well, one had one count. One had 4 count. One had 3 clicks.
Right.
One had 2 clicks. And I didn't know his song. Like I was doing everything I learned all the songs that day. I just met him. Now I've got his whole rig behind me. And like there's no organization to his backing tracks. So there was one where the whole first half of the song is just him and the piano and me counting clicks. And the bass player came in, the track came in 1 beat late because he started 1 beat late, and then the whole song was like snowball. I mean, it was train wrecked.
Yeah,
train wrecked.
Now, do you have a way of turning off the click? Or
I do have I have a kill switch I use for my backing tracks.
Yeah.
That I have a pedal that I can hit it if things just go horribly wrong.
If you mean when?
We've
all had to dump out of track.
When I was out with Tom Jones, it was the same thing. Like, I introduced the whole Akai, running tracks and all of that, just loops and things like that, because, he was doing a record that had nothing but that on it.
Yeah. Right.
And so we go to Digital Performer, but I had, the Oxygen keyboard, and I had a pedal. I started it and where to turn it off. Every now and again, Tom Jones, in all fairness, between him being Tom Jones, entertaining everybody, women throwing panties up at him. And
big panties, right? Like big panties.
Well, as he would always say, it's like, back then, people just had panties, but now people had G-strings, so yeah, big panties and all that. So, but all of that, he's trying to dodge that, and he's entertaining, and he's trying to sing, and so sometimes he'll come in 2 beats or 3 beats late. So what do? I mean, you turn off the tracks.
Yeah, but then you see if you can start them again.
No, and I did try that once.
That's dangerous.
By the way, we've all only tried that once.
That's so huge show with Tom Jones. I tried. I'm going, that ain't gonna work. So the wonderful thing is that the band knew the tunes. All the other stuff is just sweetening. So
it's good when it's just sweetening. The problem is when track is the main
they're
band.
relying on it.
Where'd that keyboard part go?
If I kill the switch, like the whole band is gone.
All you're hearing is.
I
like the stripped down version.
There was a show I did where the guy who had created the tracks didn't put clicks in. He didn't realize that there would be a necessity for clicks.
I just got one of those last week. And I'm like, what planet is
What do you do with
His
that?
solution was to put the laptop over there so that I could see the count.
Oh,
I could see it
I
going
love it when
flash,
people
flash,
Me
have
and that guy are
flash,
fighting
flash.
right before the show. We're having a fist fight.
Yeah,
I got something where the guy had the, what is it? GarageBand. He didn't turn off the internal click.
Oh, so
you got
the house. Oh, you got the double set.
No.
And I'm sitting there going, turn that off!
I got a track last week that had drums in it. I was like, what is the point?
the best person,
What's the
I have
point?
to
There's
say,
drums in this.
the best,
Or
the
like
best
Sending it to the guy that's going to do
Do
that.
the drumming, yeah.
I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this.
Probably.
I look at you when I say that. The best backing track story I ever heard was from Jonathan Mover.
I don't remember it.
He was playing for Alice Cooper, and he said he had to hit the drum cat to start like a sound effect that starts the whole concert, but the lights went out and he hit the wrong pad, and it was the background vocals for another song. He said so before the concert even started, the background vocals came in.
That's awesome.
So messed up, dude.
That's great.
At all levels.
Fantastic.
Happens at all
It
levels.
really does. Well, guys, let's wrap this thing up. I have 2 questions. First and foremost, what are you doing now that you want people to know about? Animal Cloud. What you got? What do you want people to know that you're doing these days?
Start with Carmen.
As of late, I've been working with a few artists, but the one that I guess I'm proud of and putting a lot of energy into is the Sean Jones Trio. Sure. And as a matter of fact, I have to leave to go to a gig with him now. And just a blues-based kind of, blues-based sort of country, R&B. He's an all-around kind of artist, songwriter. And I've been having fun playing as a trio again. So, that's basically what I'm doing.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Good man.
Good. It is fun band. It is.
I've seen all the videos. It sounds great.
I'm still doing Animal Cloud.
Love that band, by the way. No kidding. One of my favorite bands. I freaking love it.
Buddy likes Animal Cloud. I love Buddy for that. Corey, I love you for that.
It's great. Awesome.
And I'm getting back into doing sessions. I'll be doing recording sessions from my house. I'm looking to get back on the road. Like now that everything is calming down, I'm looking to take on more projects, more things. I would really like to score. I'm really trying to get into the scoring niche.
All right.
That's kind of where I want to be.
Nice.
Work alone.
Don't see any people.
Have my
No
house.
lights,
coffee
just the
going.
glow of
Being
the
real
screen.
George Lucas about it. Just don't want to.
Yeah, I'm in my underwear.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Everybody's like, does he kill people on the side? He's got a crawl space, right? What the smell it keeps out?
There's toenails painted black.
Smells a little bit like bodies and weed.
So messed up.
Yeah, these people are not my friends. I don't know who they are. What about him, Mike?
Oh my God. I got a few projects. I'm playing in this one band that's based out of Boston called Hand of the Tribe. We just released a video yesterday.
It's killer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
I actually edited it and produced it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And we just signed a record deal with Hitscope Music Group, Hitscope Records. I also got another band called Kanuki, which is kind of like Radiohead and really heavy duty backing tracks, but everybody's also playing, everybody's a producer. Very
How
cool.
do we spell Kanuki?
Kunuki. So very cool stuff. We have a gig April 14th at the Goldfish, which used to be the Hi-Hat.
Oh,
And and then I'm also playing South by Southwest next week with Michael Lanza, who's also on Hitscope. And I just did a gig with him last Thursday. And I'm also doing some music with my twin brother. So we're doing like a duo, Hammond organ, all Moog. So we have a bunch of stuff that I'm editing right now that we recorded.
Very nice.
I was on the East Coast. I'm dancing. No, I'm not dancing.
well,
So that's it.
that's just private for me, right?
Yeah. And then session work and stuff. I'm doing some of that stuff too. So.
What about you, Corey?
Yeah.
New band, Bad Salt. Debut record comes out, I'm going to say May. And we're going to do a show with those lucky bastards.
Really?
Was that the track
Yeah, we're
you
gonna
sent
talk
us?
Yeah, I just
That was great.
That was really good.
That was a great
Yeah,
track.
Yeah, seriously good.
The one with the five,
Yeah.
it's six, and goes at the last bars in five. Cute,
Yeah.
cute, cute.
So yeah, that band is very much Deftones meets Faith No More, I would say. And then I also do play in a Smashing Pumpkins tribute because the material's rad and it stretches me as a player and the money's good and I love playing it and they just keep on tossing dates my way, so
Great.
I can't complain.
And I've seen the videos. It sounds awesome. So.
It's fun. It's really fun.
Nice. All right, Kelly, moving to Nashville.
Moving to Nashville.
Hey man, you know what? My hat's off to you. I mean, the fact that you're leaving and
Abandoning us.
Yeah.
I mean, you're starting anew.
You had these children and you're leaving us behind.
I mean, we love it and we hate it at the same exact time.
We're already all screwed up. We're musicians. We're already hurt, damaged, and then you pull something like this.
My question is, are you going to move back if all of us paint our nails black?
Let's see. After it happens, we'll talk about it.
hey man,
I got some in the car. Who's
kick
ready?
ass, make it work.
Yeah, we all want you to be something.
Hey, we're all cheering for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course we are. We're all gonna miss you.
Yeah, exactly.
Horribly.
We are.
Horribly.
Well, it's really about just the opportunity to own a home, have a nice future for our daughter.
Yeah.
That's really where it's.
And playing drums. You're going to play drums.
Yeah,
You are. You are. There's no hope. You're going to play drums.
Along
There's
with
plenty
all
of drumming.
the other 10,000 drummers.
Yeah.
that's
That
in
was
Nashville.
huge, man. That was a real hit.
Caused them to have a stroke right
It's all right. No. CPR.
Honey?
I'm licensed.
How about you, buddy?
Wow. I'm working with Brian O'Shab on his record.
Brian!
Yeah. So thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you to Brian for pinch hitting for Eli this week and running all the tech stuff for us and the cameras. So we
love
great.
you, Eli.
Thank you. Our condolences still go out
Eli.
to Eli.
But we love Brian too.
Yeah, I've worked with Brian on his stuff, produced it, played drums, and made him very mad most of the time.
There you go.
And Bonnie Gordon, who's an actress, came via Brian. Actually, she's on one of the new Star Trek series, and we did her whole record here, which was a lot of fun. And I didn't play drums on it. All I did was produce it. I did do some hand drumming on it, but it was really fun to not play drums on something, and I mean that in a good way.
Good.
I mean,
just making sure.
Way, yeah.
I was gonna say my blood was just like.
No. It was really interesting to have a different drummer come in and play that stuff, and I would have been a terrible choice as the drummer for that because my Rushmore, which we didn't get to, is very different from a lot of you guys, and it has to do with just the way that I feel as a drummer. It's very different from the way this guy felt, and he was so good in that.
Let's go back. What's your Rushmore?
Yeah, and your Rushmore is
Copeland.
Kyle Uta's in there.
Kyle Uta's number one.
Weckel's
in fact,
in
it could be. Realistically, realistically, it's Bonham, and Bonham.
No.
Right.
Vinny and Weckel are definitely in there.
So Vinny's number 1 and 2 and kind of 3. Vinny's number 1 for sure. He's my go-to guy, and it's largely because I love the fact you said this earlier, Herman. You can hear his brain, yet it doesn't feel like you're hearing his brain.
It's not calculated.
Yeah, it feels like you're hearing his heart.
And it's just astonishing to me the way that he approaches. I mean, I can play everything Vinny can play, just a whole lot slower. And so
my prostate just does not sound
right. It's just amazing. And so that's what I like is the way that he comes up with ideas as much as anything else, you know. So yeah, he's number 1, 2, 3. Copeland is probably number 2, certainly. Weckel, I don't want to say it because
say it proud, baby.
Copeland because the guy could do more with a hi-hat than most guys can do with a drum set.
That is true. That is fact.
And I love that about him.
How do you deal with the fact that he rushes like crazy? I'm not being funny.
Okay,
I'm serious.
No. So
he plays on top.
Right, ahead a little.
So I will tell you.
I'm trying to be nice.
I listened to so much Police in my formative years that I rushed everything I played. Every band that I ever played with, I was taken off. It took me a long time. It's probably why Bonham didn't resonate with me, honestly.
Because he was so
behind. I was like, what is wrong? I don't understand this.
You had trouble processing that.
Right. And I still don't process it the same way that apparently the rest of the drumming world does. So I had to figure out the Copeland thing. And once I took a deep breath, because I'm a drumline guy, you know, as you know, once I figured out, okay, I don't have to go in every song at every moment, that helped me a lot to just take a breath and figure out, okay, there's the pulse. I get it. And I still am a front edge, but more Phil Collins front edge kind of player. I am not a backside player. I'm
pushing the band, not pulling the band.
Something like that, yeah. So that's how I dealt with that. Was just I took that front edginess, and there is an edginess to my playing, and I hear it. And I'm like, sometimes I wish it wasn't there, but it is my field. For better or worse, it's what I do.
Yeah, you can't hide that.
No, Weckel, because apparently he's the guy I get compared to more than anything else.
Why?
I don't know if it's sonics, if it's all the crazy
traditional grip where you put the double,
all of that. I don't really know. People
triplets.
There's a lot of that in my playing. Definitely, I took a lot of that '80s VHS stuff. I was the worshiper of that.
Dude, I listened to Master Plan on my way here.
Master Plan's just such a great record.
Such a great record.
Right? So I listened to that, and I'm like, Festival to Ritmo, can I ever actually play that? And the answer is no. I'll never play that like Weckel. But Vinny actually said something to me once, and I've said this probably to all of you guys. He said, "What's your goal being in LA?" I said, "Well, I want to be you." And he said,
"What's your other goal?"
Yeah, he said, "Don't be me. The world has a Vinny. We need a buddy. Go be buddy." And I really love that.
Advice.
It's great advice.
Even with Vinny, when he first came to town, everyone was telling him, "No, we don't need that. We don't need that." Then eventually came into, "Give me that Vinny."
Right, that's right. Yeah, sure. So
curveball me. Give me a curveball.
The last time I answered this question was Carter Beauford. That was the answer.
Wow.
And I do
talk about a guy that a different drummer doesn't work in the band.
No kidding.
Yeah. There you go.
And likewise, he doesn't work in other bands.
No.
They put him with Santana, and we all know that Santana story with him. It didn't work out very well. No. And it's not that he's not a great drummer. Obviously, he is. But just for the sake of divergence, I would have said maybe Liberty DeVito for real.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, because Liberty's playing when I was growing up, the Billy Joel thing was huge for me. I'm the youngest child, lots of older siblings, and they were all into that 70s music in particular.
I mean, I'm a musician for 3 reasons. He's one.
I kind of get that, and the live from Leningrad live, that was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that concert alone puts him on
How
my
he taps
list.
the toms.
It's
like,
crazy.
Oh my god.
He was playing those cloth heads. What were those called? They're called. There's some weird. Started with C. Anyway, some weird drum head, and it made his drums have a really specific sound.
Yeah.
So and again, he's my wife's second favorite drummer. So there we go. Behind JR.
Liberty DeVito and my wife. So my wife comes in and she hears in her car, satellite radio, get it right the first time, that's the main thing. And so there's this kind of carnival, thing that's going on, right?
Yeah.
Liberty's playing. So my
It's
wife,
real loopy, right? It's real. Chases its tail the whole time.
my wife comes in and she says, I just heard this Billy Joel tune that I absolutely love. And I played this when I was a kid. And so this is going on. And she says, if I play drums, my wife is saying, I would be doing, so I said, I laugh, the whole thing. So I said, oh, fuck it. Liberty, how you doing, man? Look, this is the deal. My wife comes in and the song, because I started getting these chills because I remember playing this song when I was a kid.
Sure.
And it was a great tune. Mm-hmm. And I'm like going, and that's Liberty DeVito.
Yes.
And the fact that I can call him up and say, hey, man, thanks for what you do, and thanks for what you've given us, And so my wife comes in and she has this depression on her face, and it's joy, and it's carnival, and it's all of that. And so he's like, tell your wife, what did he say? He said, all things is hope, which is her name, hope and liberty, And I was like, it was just so cool, That's cool. I was like, I'm not crying, you're crying. So it was nice.
By the way, he gave me one of the best pieces of advice ever.
What's that?
He said to me, if you don't have anybody to love and share it with, none of this means anything.
Yeah, you're right.
Man, amen to that.
You're right. Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that was deep. He's 100% right.
Yeah.
And on that note, what's your favorite Rick Springfield song? I know you love one.
I have to say Allison.
Oh,
I have to say
Jinx.
I think it's called Allison.
You think it's called? Then how can it be your favorite?
Because my girlfriend's name is Allison, and she told me to say Allison.
Mine is actually Allison, and my chick's name is not Allison.
What's yours?
Jesse's Girl. Coming to America? No, I'm kidding. Love is All Right Tonight.
That's a good one. I'm going to allow that.
How many people looked up Rick Springfield songs last night?
How many looked up Rick Springfield songs
Today.
in the last 10 minutes?
Irma, what's your favorite?
You know what? I'm going to say this because you just said what you said. Jesse's Girl is... No, wait. It can't be Jesse. Yes, it can be. You know why?
People have spoken.
Because what I'm saying is that listen to that song.
It's a great song.
It's a great song.
It is a great
song. So I mean, just that whole thing of people accepting that. I mean, it's probably maybe is it his biggest hit?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
By a country mile.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who's on guitar? Steve Lukather.
Right. Well, and what I'm saying is that with that being his biggest hit, there's nothing wrong with it being. It doesn't mean it's a bad song.
No, most of the time it's the only one people know. That's why I don't allow it.
Well, and the thing is, I know that's the only one everybody knows, but there's nothing wrong with it. Was produced well.
By the way, I love that answer because you go to people that aren't Rush fans and they say Tom Sawyer, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that too. Nothing wrong with that too.
Yeah.
You don't know Rush's catalog. You don't know Rush's catalog, but you love that too. That's a great tune.
I heard Neil say that was the most complicated Rush song for him to play live.
Yeah, he said it never got easier to play.
Which is shocking to me.
20 years.
No, most of his life. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yo, that song came out in '82. Like he said, he never got sick of playing that song. I guarantee you, Rick Springfield got sick of playing jazz.
Oh yeah.
All right, so what's your favorite Rick?
Well, because I'm such a huge Rick fan.
Yeah.
And I just really know his catalog inside and out. I know every song.
Smithfield. Rick Smithfield.
They're all so good
Richard.
that for me, I just really can't pick a favorite. So I love them all.
Solid answer.
No.
He didn't say Jesse's girl.
He didn't say Jesse's girl.
Let me see.
Okay.
No, anyways, so I don't know the catalog that
That's
well. I'm just going
fair.
to be
You
like
don't-
Jessica.
My favorite Rick Springfield song was when he was on a soap opera. Right? Wasn't he a soap opera?
Yeah, soap
Yeah.
star, yeah.
I'll take that.
He's a soap star.
And
I should
his
know that
love
being his
interest
number
was
one
named
fan
Jesse.
And knowing his catalog.
Oh, really?
Seriously.
Do you watch this soap opera?
Oh yeah. I admit it. I was a soap opera. Oh yes. I did.
Tour?
Yeah. Well,
Midday?
well, that was the thing. I mean, you're on tour. What, I mean, nowadays, what do you watch? You either watch CNN or whatever, or you watch
YouTube videos.
No. What's that? Dun dun.
Netflix.
Maury. No,
Law and Order.
Law and Order.
Right, yeah.
That's on everywhere.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah,
you know.
you can suffer through an episode of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you just boom, and you're at home, right? There it is, right there.
There it is.
But no, back then though, it was watching your soaps. Man.
I love it.
General Hospital, Ryan's Hope, One Life to Live.
Mom
You know, as the
used to watch
world
that.
turns.
Young and the Restless.
Oh, Young and the Restless.
Hey.
All of that.
I was in the Days of Our Lives.
See, Days of Our
I was in the Days of Our Lives.
Iconic piano line, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Why does that not surprise me?
Right.
Patch, dude? Did you ever watch Days of Our Lives when you were a kid?
No.
Right.
There was a character named Patch that had an eye patch.
All
You play
that.
that, everybody's like,
Yeah,
Originally. What should we call the guy with an eye patch? I don't know. Patch sounds good.
Yeah, Patch.
And then the credits is just like Patch. Rob Smith. Which guy was that? An eye patch. That's who that was.
I love it.
All right, so my favorite Rick Springfield song.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
If you say Jesse's girl, I swear you're going to the pool.
It was like, bam.
Yeah.
Venus in Overdrive.
oh, I love that. I mean,
Oh, what a great track.
That's my second favorite.
Look, I'm not kidding.
Like the bridge.
You need to check that track out. I'm not kidding. If it had been released by anybody else in 2015-ish is when it came out, if it was released by anybody modern at all, it would have been a giant hit. It's a great song. Venus and Overdrive.
Wow. On the way home. I'll check it out.
Check it out.
There's something to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Like you. So these are my people. I'm sorry about that.
Love you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kel.
Kelly.
We're going to miss you, buddy.
Yes, we are. It's bittersweet today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. So there we are. That's my drummer dudes. Obviously, there's a lot of love and respect, and what an honest, fun interview that was. We obviously had an absolute blast. The birds chirping, sitting out by the pool, the planes flying overhead just made it even more authentic and real. That's just that group of guys. I can't tell you how much they mean to me, how much we all clearly mean to each other, and what that meant for us to share that time together. That episode, that moment under the tent there, out here in my backyard, was 2 years in the making. It took us 2 years to actually get together with all of our schedules, with COVID and all of the lockdowns. 2 years. So you literally just saw the first time that all 6 of us were ever in the same spot at the same time, after we became friends anyway. And it was a truly, truly unique, truly special moment. And I'm sure that my guys are watching, if not tonight, tomorrow, in the next couple of days. I love you guys so much. Thank you for spending your time with us, with me, and for spending your real energy and your real thoughts about everything. This was just so much fun. On that note, let's take a look. We had a whole bunch of comments that came through during this interview, and I'm not surprised. Yes, so I'm just going to put them up here. Yes, thank you. This is from my wife. She says I rock a tux. Thank you. That's pretty awesome. Let's see. Mike Odabashian. Yeah, the birds were just killing us that day. You guys have no idea. We actually took time to get rid of some of the bird sounds in the audio post-production. You wouldn't believe it. Veronica Ebert, good to see you here with us tonight. Thank you so much. I know you are down there in Australia. Is it really fair to say down? I mean, it isn't, right? But thank you for spending some time with us tonight. Keith Tenenbaum, why, thank you. Thank you so much. Charles, this is funny. Everyone went beast mode like all of us do for the iconic Phil Collins drum fill. That is just the absolute truth. And Justin Scheidling kind of said the same thing. I mean, we did. We all just immediately start singing that. Such a great fill. Oh, my goodness. Toby Simmons, you have been an amazing part of this season. Thank you so much for everything you've done, all the shares, all the promotion that you've done. We thank you so much for that. And she also sends her best wishes along to Kelly. Kendall, yeah, I know it's unbelievable but true. The season 2 finale, unbelievable. It's just kind of unbelievable to me and to Eli too. Eli is here in the room with me too. Say hi, Eli.
What's happening?
There he is. Veronica, yeah, the drum beat, that was pretty fun. And I'd be remiss if I did not thank Justin Scheidling for taking his time to do that for us. He and I worked on something to come up with maybe better than a beep. And the snare drum sound was just too good for words. So thanks for doing that, Justin. Really, really appreciate it. Charles appreciated that too. I'm glad you're watching, Charles. I hope you have a great day. I know you're just getting your day started in South Africa.
The drum roll was the best.
The drum roll was the best. I mean, that was so good. Oh, wow. Oh, Toby, yes. Try Herman's Peanut Brittle. I couldn't agree more. Wow, it's so good. It's not too sweet. It's just the perfect. It's really so good. Unreal. Eddie Taduri, thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for your compliments as well. The greatest interview show. Thank you. Thank you for your time with us, Eddie. I really appreciated you being part of this season. Your episodes are available on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to take a moment and go over to the YouTube channel and watch all the back episodes. We'll call them that. So don't forget that. Gina, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. It was great having you here. So with this being said, with this being our final episode, I want to be sure that I thank everybody that has made this possible. Certainly not the least of which I want to start with DW Drums, best drums on the planet, and there's a reason why I play these drums. Thank you to DW for everything. Peisty cymbals. My goodness, the sounds. I love my Peisties. Thank you for that. Remo, you guys make the best heads in the business. It's funny, I'm going to say that a lot right now because I'm affiliated with and endorse the best companies on the planet, and I'm really kind of amazed that these guys want to have anything to do with me. But thanks, Remo, for your support. Innovative Percussion, drumsticks. I've been very, very, very happy with my drumsticks since moving over to Innovative. You should check them out for sure. Latin Percussion, if you're looking for congas and things of that nature, LP is the way to go. Sennheiser and Neumann, the microphone companies, they are in fact sitting right here in front of me. I've got a couple of them, and everywhere in the studio here is Sennheiser mics. Thank you so much for your support of the channel, of the show, of me personally as a drummer. Thank you for that. Motion Pro Drum Thrones. I don't mention them as often as I should. Motion Pro makes a divided seat office chair, in fact, that Eli's sitting on over there, in my drum throne, to help you with your spinal alignment while you're playing drums so your back doesn't give you any problems like Keith Tannenbaum was talking about. If he had a Motion Pro, he might not have had that problem. I don't know. Sledge Pad, bass drum muffling system. It's the only one that I use. And ePad practice pads. I'm a big fan of ePad. And I really appreciate everybody over there at Eblin. Thank you for taking your time and helping me out with that. I want to say a big shout out and thank you to Daniel East down there in Miami. He's the one that's running all the social media tonight and every night. So thank you, Dan, for everything you've done. He also does all the promotion work that you see as we lead up to every episode. And without that, you wouldn't know where we were. So thank you, Dan, for everything. Brian Oshab, as you heard, he shot this episode. Yeah, a couple of you sent me some messages along the way. We did have a little camera issue with one of the cameras that was on Kelly and Corey. We fixed it the best way we could, so thanks for hanging in there with us on that. Thank you so much. It worked out just fine, and really that was Eli's handiwork. And I want to thank Eli. He's been directing every episode this whole season. Took that weight off of me, and it's a pretty big weight. As you know, this isn't your basic podcast. This is a show. And Eli has taken a lot of that weight off of me and has directed it and helped us to build this amazing family that we've built. Speaking of family, I would like to thank my wife, Natalie, for everything. I don't know if you guys saw that she was named one of the 50 most influential women in LA by Women We Admire last week. Big deal for sure. I'm very, very proud of her and everything she does for me personally. My life would not work quite the same way without her. And I know that Eli would like to thank his family as well. So I may let him do that. don't forget, we have the giveaway coming up in just a moment here, but I want to say a thanks to everybody that's been on the show this season. I'm going to have to read the list. So Renee Beavers, Emma Green, Bonnie Gordon, Keith Tenenbaum, Kelly King, Mike Odabashian, Herman Matthews, Eddie Taduri, Victor Andrizzo, Randy Cook, and Nate Morton. That was just this season. That's kind of incredible. Last season we had Sim Kane and Mark Kelso and Dorico Watson and Emily Gould. Who else did we have? Quentin Robinson, Tyler Zarzika, Chris Hart, and Ty Dennis. That's like a who's who of drummers, all doing Groove Diner After Dark. So thank you to everybody that has appeared on the show over the past 2 seasons. We can't wait to show you what we have in store for season 3. And we're going to try to do that a little sooner. This past season 2, because of COVID and because of some things, it took us a little while to get back to it. Well, we're looking at September, October, but no later than that when we come back for season 3 this time. So we're really excited about having you all back and bringing some friends. Don't completely forget about us, though, because it's completely possible that there might be some bonus things going on this summer. It's possible. We're going to have a TikTok channel up pretty soon. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we won't be disappearing for quite as long this time around. It's really been a fun season for us. With that said, let's do the giveaway. Hey, Eli, why don't you come on over here, man? I'm going to get Eli on camera. He is not wearing a tuxedo, though. But I am. I'm wearing enough tuxedo for us both. Huh?
All right.
What's up?
What's up, peeps? How you doing?
Eli Jarrah. This is the man right here. And I always talk about how tall I am, and he's taller than me. Look at that. So I don't feel tall all the time ever.
Yeah.
How'd that happen, right?
I know.
Okay, so Eli, we have here a Groove Diner After Dark mug. I'm just saying. And we're going to...
You got all the names in here. You want to tell me how you did the names?
So, yeah, everybody that commented on more than one episode throughout the course of season 2, your name automatically got entered into the coffee mug.
Bam.
So we're going to dump them in here
All right.
and see what we can find. Is that empty? Did you get them all?
Yep. That's
Yeah,
empty.
okay. So he's going to give it a shake. The first prize that we're going to pick for...
Wait, you want to show them what it looks like?
Not this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The first prize we're going to pick for is the bumper sticker.
Okay.
Because we don't have one of those.
Okay, great.
So we can't show that. Right? I mean, that's how that works.
That's exactly
We're like
right.
a comedy duo. I mean, how's this work? All right, so here we go. I'm not going to look. I'm just going to reach in and see. Who do we have? What does that say?
Barry Halevi.
Barry Levy. He is
All right.
our winner of our bumper sticker. Barry, I think you're actually watching tonight. Send us a note on the website on Facebook, and I'll get this out to you. Excellent.
Sweet.
Oh, shake it up again.
All right, so
So this. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I didn't say what the second prize was. Did I?
Right.
The very coffee mug that you just saw.
oh,
Okay, not that exact one, but a Groove Diner After Dark coffee mug is about to be someone's right now. I feel like I'm on The Price is Right.
do it up. Let's see
Okay.
what we got.
What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? What does that say?
Doug Tan.
Doug Tan.
Woohoo!
Ding 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 ding.
Ding ding.
Doug Tan. I don't know if you're
Nice.
watching tonight or if you're watching tomorrow, but I know you'll watch. You have won yourself a coffee mug. All right, here we go. Oh, this is the grand prize. Everybody that has been on the show this season has signed this drum head. I signed this drum head. Eli signed this drum head. Everybody has signed it. That's
break it.
a good special effect.
Foley.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here it is. Big time. It's time for the drawing. All right, here we go. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, here we go. What's that say?
Toby Simmons.
Of course. It's perfect. Toby, congratulations.
Nice.
Nice. Honestly, I can't think of a more fitting person. She
Oh.
has done so much for us.
That's
That's great. I'm so
fantastic.
glad. We'll have to get coffee or something, and you can get your drum head. Toby actually lives locally, so that's great. Thank you so much, everybody. Eli, you want to say a word or two?
Thanks everybody for being here this season. It was a lot of fun putting all this together. We're a lean and mean crew. It is a small village. We were able to get a lot done this season. A lot of goals that we were trying to meet, and trying to deliver the best production value that we can. And that's like quality is number one, and that's something that we really try to keep. making sure that we deliver every episode. So thank you for being here and watching the show with us. We've got some really ambitious stuff coming up, some ideas and plans, and some great things coming up for season 3 that we're really excited about. So we can't wait. I definitely want to thank my family. My wife Brenda, my 2 kids Riley and Kayla. They help keep me grounded. And
so out of your league.
I know, and testosterone levels are at bay at my house. Trust me. Yeah. But thanks guys. Love you all very much. And all my friends and family, especially friends and family back in Michigan, who actually are into the show and watch the show every week. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Man. So it's been a blast, man.
Yes,
I love it. I love it.
It has. Look at this. Look at all these things we got over here. We have some more comments. Thank you, David, for joining us. Hope you'll come back next season for sure.
Sweet.
Reggie, thanks, man. We appreciate you being here week after week after week. Yes, Veronica, I do clean up. I don't know if it's good or not, but I try. Oh, that's so funny. Reggie, absolutely, man. This was an inspiring group of guys. That you know why I love them, right?
Yeah.
And so
amazing interview, man. I had a lot of fun editing this one.
Yeah,
It's
right.
really, really cool, man. Really
absolutely. Veronica, yes, thank you so much for tuning in every week. I know it's well, I don't know what time it is actually in Australia right now, but it's not 9 p.m. That's for sure. So thank you for spending your time with that.
Indeed.
Thanks to everybody for sticking around. Look at this, Eli. You are a Jedi.
Thanks, my man. Thank you, Charles.
That's pretty good.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that's right, Toby. They're going to be pop-up shows. Exactly. I hadn't thought of it that way. Absolutely. There's my wife. Thank you, babe.
Hey, what's happening?
Toby, well, your wish came true. We did, in fact, pick yours. Oh, that's so funny. Neil Van Erd. That'd be an interesting idea. That's a good idea. Barry, you are watching. Excellent.
Hey, Veronica.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Yep, absolutely. Who else we got? Gina. Yep. Hello, Gina. Thank you again for sticking around tonight. My goodness, we have so many comments tonight. It's really fantastic. Yep. And in fact, yes, I don't know if all of you heard, but in fact, I will be a grandfather. No, probably this time next week.
Whoa.
Maybe.
Awesome.
Maybe. Yeah, it might be the week after. Probably be the week after, actually, now that I stop and think about it. So I'll probably got 2 more weeks.
Might have a new guest for next season.
Probably not. No. Any grandchild of mine does not play music.
What?
No.
What?
No. Go do something easy.
I thought it'd be pots and pans. It's like starting
That's
here.
probably true. Yeah. No kidding.
Take the wooden spoon.
Right. Seriously.
Yeah.
Toby, hit us up. We'll situate a time to get you this.
Yeah. I'm gonna go push some buttons now.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. See you guys later.
All right.
Next season,
exactly. Well, thanks again, everybody, for hanging with us all season long. We will see you again in just a few months. If you have thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, send it our way. GrooveDinerAfterDark@gmail.com. I typically answer that if it's not me. It's either Dan or Eli. So you're getting one of us is the point. Feel free to send that over, please. And we'd love to have anything that you've got to say. We're interested. Absolutely. Okay. So thank you so much once again, and we will see you in just a few months for season 3. Wow. Until next time.
Hit it.